All right, so let's start today with some real talk. First off, now that there are 2 games being shown at the same time for a total of 4 games over the course of the day, it's been pretty hard for me to see every single minute of every single game. So I apologize yesterday for making some mistakes, especially the Iago Aspas goal, which I said was a header when it was clearly a cheeky back heel, and you guys know how much I love cheeky back heels. So I don't know why I had a header on my brain, but that's probably because I always have headers on my brain.
Today on the header, and that's into the back of the net!
Also, with regard to the Ronaldo red card situation and whether he should have got one or not, man, I've got a few things to say about this. One, and this is most definitely an excuse, but also the reality of the situation, because Mike K and I are trying to turn this content around as quickly as we can once the games are over, and because of this urgency, I miss some things and don't always fully explore both sides of the conversation like I probably should. So as it pertains to Ronaldo and whether he deserved a red card overall, well, I had the good fortune of playing for many years, like I've mentioned here and there, and being a part of and seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of plays, and in addition to that, thousands and thousands of referee calls or non-calls over the years. So I'm still bitter actually about some of them because I thought they were pretty harsh, and others I feel like I got lucky due to the referee's kindness. So I speak from a good place of experience, but it doesn't always mean I get it right. So like many of you said in the comments, this sport is a contact sport, and what Ronaldo did was less egregious than what Diego Costa did to Pepe when Diego Costa scored against Portugal in their first game of the tournament. Do you remember that? Where Diego Costa gave Pepe a forearm shiver to the neck, though we could argue that Pepe made a bit of a meal of it. And the ref and VAR didn't call it at all. They let the goal stand. So I'm saying to you right now that you're right, 100%. I agree with what you're saying. Diego Costa's was worse because he made better contact and it led to a goal. But I think what makes it different from Ronaldo's is that the situation between Diego Costa and Pepe saw them both competing for the ball in the same space. There was action around the ball. So my concern with Ronaldo yesterday is the same concern that I have today, is that it was off the ball, and he was reacting to the Iranian defender backing into him. So to me, he looked like he got that flash of frustration. Does that ever happen to you where you glaze over, you're like, that guy is going down no matter what? Which I'm sure was frustration that he was carrying around after missing the penalty, but he foolishly put himself at risk once he raised his arm to swim move around the defender. Now, whether his intent was to catch him in the face or not, only he knows for sure, but it didn't look good in my opinion. And so much so that I thought it could warrant a red card, but, and this is what I should have said yesterday, the red would have been pretty harsh given all the other stuff that we've seen in this tournament that has not been called. Like, as an example, Serbia's Alexander Mitrovic, you guys remember this? Where he got tackled by 2 Swiss players in the box before he even had a chance to head the ball, and guess what? No call. And that's just one of a few examples. So the yellow to Ronaldo acknowledged that he made a mistake without severely punishing him or his team or all of his fans from not being able to see one of the best to ever play this game play in the world's most important competition. And the second thing I want to say is, please don't threaten me with unsubscribing if you don't agree with something I said. Mike K, Mikko, and I, we work extremely hard to make this content for you because 1, we love to do it. It's at the core of everything, this passion that we have to make content. But 2, and most importantly, we love this community that we're building with all of you. And in fact, being a part of this is one of the most special things that I've ever done in my life. And that's down to you being you and me being me. So if we disagree, in my opinion, that's great because I now have the opportunity to learn something new that day about a particular topic, and I get to learn something about you, and that's a big deal to me. Anyway, I got way sidetracked today, but that's because I care about this. And I care about our community a lot. So when I get threatened with the unsubscribe stuff after we put out videos every day for over 3 straight weeks, sometimes twice a day with our group previews, and I'm not charging you for it or asking for money or anything like that. And if you buy my merch, which is always appreciated, go to warmballers.com to make that happen. All of the profits go to charity. So it's just, you know, like, just leave. Because the unsubscribe comments just feel so disrespectful to all of our hard work. And that makes me want to elbow, but not elbow someone in the face. Like Cristiano did? Just kidding. I don't need to bring this up again, okay? We don't need to rehash it. I just think I need some sleep. I think I'm a little cranky, I'm a little tired, but we'll get to that right after this. It's the very curious news from around Russia with the very tired and someone who definitely needs a hug. Very curious news item number 1. Marcus Rojo is the hero that Argentina didn't even know they needed. But he is the one that they got when the Manchester United defender found his way in the middle of the box near the end of the game to finish off a cross on a one-time volley with his weak foot that helped give Argentina the 2-1 lead at the time, which ended up being the 2-1 win, and the 3 points that they needed to beat a very talented Nigeria team that was so fun to watch I'm sad that they're now out of the competition. However, I got a couple things about this, as you can imagine. One, Argentina's first goal was incredible. Ever Banega dropped a dime with the perfect weight to Messi, who was running at full speed off the center back's shoulder, and his first and second touch were sublime, which set up his shot with his weak foot, which ended up being the goal. And all this play actually makes me think of, besides my appreciation of what Messi makes look so easy, is why Ever Banega didn't play at all against Croatia. The guy is so good, and it makes me question the manager for Argentina again. 2, VAR strikes again. Now, I thought Argentina, and specifically Javier Mascherano, got hosed on the first penalty called against them because that type of stuff happens on every corner kick, so it's weird that he's like, I'm calling this one right now. But I feel like they got lucky on the second one for not being called. So for me, that evened everything out. But on the one that wasn't called, it was a handball, and it was almost the same exact play that happened against Portugal yesterday, and it got called as a penalty. So which is it, FIFA and the referees? Be consistent. 3, if as a team, you need your center back to come up and score goals for you to win games while leaving some of your best attacking players on the bench, like, I don't know, I'll just throw out a name like Paulo Dybala, for example, then your team is a hot mess. But it's a hot mess that is now playing France. And if they beat France and Portugal beats Uruguay, we will have Messi versus Ronaldo in the quarterfinals. And now, I've never wanted to see anything more in my whole entire life. This has to happen. Very curious news item. Number 2, the best decision I made today was not watching the France versus Denmark game. Because I heard the first 0-0 game of the whole tournament, which is a new World Cup record, by the way, that it took 37 games to get to our first 0-0 result, was boring AF. But not surprising, given that both teams needed a draw to get through to the round of 16, so there was no real urgency from either side. But maybe there should have been for Denmark, because had they beaten France, they would have finished first and avoided Croatia in the next round. And I don't know how else to say this, but Croatia has looked the best to me in this tournament, even though they had to grind out a 2-1 result over a very game Iceland, who, unfortunately, and given the amount of quality chances they created, definitely did not deserve to take the L. But this sport can be quite cruel to teams that don't capitalize on their opportunities, and now Iceland is going home. Also, just briefly, I want to give a shout out to Croatia's manager Zlatko Dalic, who took charge of the team with only 1 game left in qualifying, and the team has not lost since that happened, including this game against Iceland, when he made so many changes to the team. It would have been easy for them to have an emotional letdown or to appear out of sync, but they had most of the possession and they got the job done, and that speaks to the confidence that he has instilled in his players. So Denmark, if you're watching and paying attention, and I know you watch my show, I know you do, you should be worried. But not until tomorrow, because today us Danes are celebrating getting out of the group. So my dad's side of the family is buzzing. Though we still miss Nicholas Bentner. The Lord. But back to France, who have arguably the most talented team in Russia. They beat Australia in Game 1 on an own goal and a VAR penalty. And then in Game 2, they barely got by Peru 1-0. And then in this one, they drew with Denmark after managing 3 shots on target and no goals in 90 minutes. So for me, they 100% have to pick up their game if they want to make a serious run at things, because, and please correct me if you think I'm wrong, and I know that you will, and I love that about you, this isn't good enough from them. Very curious news item. Number 3, Aussie, 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 no, no, no. Sadly, the dream for the Australians is over, and it happened in much the same way that it's been going for them all tournament, which I guess the polite way of saying it is, it was due to tough luck. But I'm sure they would prefer if I said it like this: we got f***ing screwed, mate. Peru's first goal was offside initially, and their second came off of 2 deflections. And I don't think that was the right accent. Or I think I started okay, but then just faded hard. But you know what? You're right, and I don't know what to say to you other than you now join the list of teams, which includes Morocco, Iran, Nigeria, Iceland, and Peru, who probably deserve better than what this tournament has served up to you. But you still didn't score a goal against Peru, Australia, and you needed a goal to win to have a chance of advancing, so I'm quite eager to see how you develop that top striker over the next World Cup cycle, assuming you have a player like that in your pipeline. And I think the same can be said of Peru, who did well to qualify for the first time since 1982, and they did play well in all of their games, but sadly, it wasn't enough either, so it'll be interesting to see if they can build off of this. Anyway, that is it. That is all I got, but now it is your turn. Messi versus Ronaldo is gonna happen, isn't it? It's meant to be. I can feel it. Also, are you with me on France? Because it's like Jose Mourinho is managing them. They're too defensive, and it feels like they have handcuffs on their attacking players. And is Croatia the best team in the tournament so far? I'm gonna say quite easily. So let me know your thoughts. Thank you for your continued support. I truly love what we're creating here. So it means a lot when you contribute by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment about however you're feeling. So yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow. See you then. Later.